Hello, everybody. How's everybody doing? Happy Tuesday. I know I'm a day early on the podcast, but I do have a tattoo appointment tomorrow that I'm not going to miss. I will most likely be going live over there. Just don't know exactly what time yet. So we will see. I'm going to have this arm worked on a little bit, and we're going to finish up my flag that you can't tell it's a flag. So, anyway, that's why I'm going tonight instead of tomorrow night. How's everybody doing? Hello, Julie is at work. Hi, Missy. Hi, Uncle. Welcome to Fireballs and F Bombs. Tonight we are talking about haunted New York. I know I got a little bit sidetracked with the holidays. I was working like 6 days a week, and the one day off I had, I was like dead sleeping. So, so I did slack off on the podcasts a little bit when I was working that much. But now that the holidays are over, I'm about to get back to normal. And I actually had a pretty good darn day off. I rested for 2 days. I drew pictures, drew my paintings, and got some chores done. I'm working so hard on my solar light garden, which is, at night, my little garden at night. But it's a solar light garden, is what I call it. And it's just getting so pretty. I put out more solar lights yesterday, and I still have a lot more to get. Um, the ones I just got though, I got them and I've been wanting them so much, but when I got them out there and they turned on last night, it's like they're not very bright. So it's like, damn, like you can see them, but they're just not as bright as what you would hope for. But anyway, I've got more to get out there. Anyway, but it is looking really pretty out back. So, but tonight we're talking about haunted New York. I have been to the state of New York a couple of times, and it was wonderful. And there is one I'm sure everyone has heard of, but I'm going to start with Utica State Hospital. Um, Now, Utica State Hospital, it's hard to imagine that patients confined to cramped quarters with filthy living conditions would ever be considered state of the art. But the former New York State Lunatic Asylum was when it opened in 1843. Here, doctors invented the Utica crib, an inhuman, long, shallow cage where they kept agitated people to calm them down or to punish misbehaving residents. Though it closed in 1973, Old Main, the local nickname for it, still stands. Some people claim they've seen faces looking out the window and heard screams coming from the abandoned building. Today, it's off limits to the public except for sporadic ghost tours. Now, it opened in 1843. It became the National Historic Landmark since 1989. It is closed to the public, but government allows ghost tours 2 to 3 times a year. Um, Now, there was 380 single rooms for patients, 24 rooms for attendants, 20 dormitories, 16 parlors or day rooms. Laura is listening to. Oh, hi, Laura. Well, you just okay, y'all, cool. There was 12 dining rooms, 24 bathrooms, and 24 closets. Now, in 1852, the main floor stairway caught fire. Now, most patients and staff were safely evacuated, but a firefighter and a doctor were killed in the process. 4 days after the stairway, a barn on the grounds caught fire, killing animals and tenders. William Spears, a former patient, a convicted arsonist, admitted to setting both fires and was arrested. He was mad at his old caretakers. The staffers' artwork is there, and it's like they want it on display. If a sculpture is the staffers' artwork is there, and it's like they want it on display. If a sculpture is moved, it's always moved back to its original spot. Doors open like always. Come on. Doors lock themselves. Keys, phones, items are moved to different spots. Visitors get touched. They feel cold spots, feel bad and sad. Some claim they've heard whispering behind them and no one is there. Some claim they've seen apparitions watching them from a distance. Spirits seem friendly, but definitely don't want their things moved or touched. All right, so that was okay. Now, this kind of went in reverse here. Okay, so the next one is called the Palmyra Historical Museum and Phelps General Store, and this is in Palmyra, New York. Palmyra boasts not one but two historical hauntings, a few doors from each other. Visitors and staff of the Phelps General Store frozen in time from when the store closed in 1940. And its upstairs residences have reported vanishing cats and even full body apparitions during overnight stays. A few doors down, the Palmyra Historical Museum has also seen its share of spooks. In 1964, 6 children and a young mother perished in a fire at this former 3-resident property. Over the years, museum goers have reported the smell of ash lingering in the basement, toys flying off the shelves, and the sensation of having one's clothes or hair tugged. Now, this was built in 1826 as a hotel. It served as other things as well. It served as a pharmacy, a police and fire department, and an art gallery. Today, the museum showcases stories of early settlers, canal life, and religious movements from throughout time and local development of the town. There were 2 distinct events that occurred in this home. On December 20th, 1964, the Breeden family, Mom, Ruth Ann, and 6 of her children, Marion, Dennis, Sharon, Susan, Mitchell, and Samuel, all died in a house fire. Now, it's said that all family members have been seen. The staff leaves stockings on the fireplace for that family every year. And the second, in August 2015, 83-year-old Khaled al-Assad was beheaded in the basement by ISIS militants. Al-Assad was an employee here for many years. Now, Paul Breeden, the father and the husband of, we're going back to incident number 1, the Breeden family. Now, Paul Breeden was the father and husband. He was the only survivor. Now, his claim was that the fire in the fireplace got out of control and caught the stockings on fire, and he couldn't stop the fire from spreading. He claimed he couldn't make it back upstairs to wake and save his family. The horror of these events were so tragic that even those who witnessed the event to this day refuse to talk about it. Spirits here are friendly. The children are seen playing in the hallways. They run around. They seem to play hide and seek with people. One was caught up close looking at a camera that was left there recording, as if wondering what it was. Ruth is seen in the bedrooms and the kitchen. Plates move, the glasses move, and silverware has been taken out of the drawers. She's been seen looking out the windows at people walking by. There's been a female heard whispering, but it's unknown what she is saying. Flashlights will turn on and off when asked. Candles will also be blown out if you ask them to do so. One reported that one of the children were playing with their hair while they were sitting on the floor. People will also bring candy and toys and place them on a table, and they're known to just disappear. The current owner said that about a week later, she found one of the toys in one of the upstairs closets. I'd go there. Absolutely 100%. I would go there all day long. And I know y'all go with me too. We might have a little scream here and there, but I know y'all go with me. I'd go. Heck yeah. Now, the next one, I know everybody has heard of the next one. The Amityville Horror House. Horror house, not whorehouse. I know that's what it sounds like. Okay. So whether or not you believe the book or the franchise of horror films it inspired, there's no doubt that some scary real life shit happened in this otherwise charming looking Dutch colonial house at 112 Ocean Avenue. In the early 70s, a young man murdered his parents and 4 siblings in the house. When another family bought the house after the murders, they reported witnessing all sorts of creepy smells and feelings and had unexplainable, ominous visions. The family moved out just 28 days later. Although no new hauntings have been reported lately, the history is still enough to keep you up at night. Locals reportedly don't like the attention the house brings to the town, so be respectful if you ride by. It is still a private residence, so don't be that person to take a photo in front of the house. Now, the events occurred November 13th, 1974. Now, I don't know if you've watched the movie The Conjuring, but that is the movie that was inspired by these events. Ronald Butch DeFeo Jr., he was 23 years old at the time, used a .35 Marlin rifle and killed his parents and 4 siblings. Dad, Ronald Sr., Mom, Louise, siblings, Dawn, Allison, Mark, and John. All were shot in their beds while they were sleeping. DeFeo Jr. confessed, blaming the voices in the house, even though he had a history of drug abuse himself. He was imprisoned for 6 counts of second-degree murder and died in prison in 2021. There have been demonic entities felt there. New family moved in 1 year after murders and moved out 28 days later. Paranormal investigators claim there's demons there, moving objects, cold spots, feelings of sadness or anger, screams, moans, footsteps, gunshots, and crying can be heard. People claim things have flown across the room, flown off the walls. Doors will slam and lock all by themselves. Hey, spirit stalker. Now, if you remember the Warrens, which they have passed on now, you guys remember, what's their names? Oh my goodness, what's the Warrens' names? Y'all know who the Warrens are, though. Y'all, if y'all follow me, y'all know who the Warrens are because they were the demonic. They were the ones you call if you had a demonic. Anyway, y'all know who I'm talking about. The Warrens went there, and The Conjuring. Lorraine Warren, yes, Ed and Lorraine Warren. That is exactly right. I'm sorry. I always forget their names, but I know it's the Warrens. Anyway, the Warrens went there on two different occasions. But the movie The Conjuring is what was made from these events at this location, at this house. Um, I have personally never seen The Conjuring, so I really need to watch it. I think there were different conjurings, and I think all the conjurings were done from locations that the Warrens went that were similar to. Anyway, I don't think I would go to that house. There's just too much bad stuff that I've heard. I don't want to deal with evil stuff. I don't want an evil entity. I don't want that. So I would not go to the Amityville house. Would you guys? I want to know if you would or not. Would y'all go? Because I won't. And I love me to ghost hunt, but no, I am not. You ain't catching me going in there. And it's so crazy because now y'all know I tore down the house that was on my property. Now my thing's gonna freeze up. See, now my fucking thing's froze up. Talking about this shit, now it's frozen. Come on. Hang on a minute now. Come on. I would go outside, yes. Okay, here we go. Come on. Come on. Come on. Ah! My tablet's frozen up now. I would like if I were in that little town or something, and I I don't know. I don't know if I would even be. I mean, I would go outside, yeah, but I wouldn't go inside that threshold. There is no way I'm going in there. Not with all that there. Come on, y'all see it's literally frozen. Yes, it is now. It is. The owners were caught doing something. The new owners, they're the ones that moved in and they moved out 28 days later. Now, it's the same lady that owns the house still. I'm just going to have to shut this down and restart it. Dadgummit. That's irritating. Talk about the damn, and it froze up. So they would, she got caught doing something. I can't remember exactly what she was doing, but I know that she was letting people go and do like hunts, like paranormal investigations, or people staying overnight and was charging them like an arm and a leg and stuff. I can't remember exactly like exactly like how much she was charging her. Anyway, she got caught doing something like that, and they ordered her to stop. Like she was ordered by like the town or the county or whatever it was. I don't know if it was the state, but they ordered her to close it from the public. So it's just sitting there now, but nobody apparently lives in it. Um, and it's gone through some renovations. Like when this comes back up, this is being slow as shit. Um, I know what the house looked like before, and the house that I had on my property that I tore down reminded me of the Amityville house. That's one of the when I first bought the house and I was here, and I'd sit there and look at it, and it was the same exact shape and everything of the Amityville house, and it just gave me the creeps. Come on. And no. This thing's going really slow. Look. I don't know the Warrens' house. I don't know where the Warrens' house was. The Warrens' house. Did they make the Warrens' house a museum? I'm going to have to look that up. I'm going to see if that was a museum. Because, okay, so I know the Warrens had Annabelle. Because remember, we talked about this. The Warrens had Annabelle, and she was put into that wooden glass box. All right. But then Zach Baggins ended up, he has 375 a night, and you had to sign a waiver stating that you would not sue for any harmful stuff done to you. Dang. Mm-mm. This house is huge, though. I don't remember the house ever being this freaking huge. When I get signed back in here, I'll show you the picture of the Amityville house, how it looks today. You can definitely tell from the way the house looked before and from how it looks today that come on. Oh, for good Lord. Come on, come on, come on. Slow, slow, slow. Come on. Getting into my email. All right. Nope. Okay, so this is the picture of the Amityville house now. Like, this is a side view of it. Like, I thought it was like between two houses, like really close between two houses. That's what I thought. But this looks like a really pretty place. I mean, I don't know. I mean, if you're dumb enough to pay 375 a night and sign a waiver like that, then I'm not, whatever, if you want to do that. Oh, no, I know that's Matt Rife. Now, Matt Rife was talking about, I didn't know that was the Warrens' house that he purchased. it was Matt Rife and his best friend bought it because he was talking about it, but I didn't realize that he was talking about the Warren House. So the actual Warren House was made into a museum. Is that what I'm getting from that? The Amityville house was the one that the Conjuring movie was made from, where the guy went crazy and killed his parents and his four siblings, and then went down to the bar and he was drinking and covered in blood, and then he ended up admitting everything. And anyway, it's been many, many years since I've seen. They cleaned it up. It's the house and museum connected to it. Okay, cool. And I've already done Connecticut, so I wonder why that wasn't in my thing. I don't know. Maybe it's called something else, but when we did Connecticut, I never saw anything about the Warrens house museum that used to be the Warrens. Nothing. We didn't cover that. So, all right. Well, anyway, the next one is called the Buffalo Central Terminal in Buffalo, New York. Yeah, they haven't owned it very long, and he does. I saw him make a post. Matt Rife, he's the comedian. He's really funny too. Pretty cute. I saw him when he was announcing that he purchased a haunted house and museum. Did not realize it was the Warrens, because that wasn't mentioned in his announcement. And apparently, he's not like an official ghost hunter, but he does like to ghost hunt. He has been. I don't know all of his past, but I'm just going by the video that I saw him announce, because I follow Matt Rife on Facebook. Anyway, the Buffalo Central Terminal. Now, for a half century, this Art Deco number was a bustling transportation hub. But although the last train departed in 1979, reports of moving apparitions and the feeling of being watched suggest that this terminal remains plenty active. The building is currently undergoing exterior renovations, but you can see and hear the ghosts inside gallivanting around. However, when people have gained access to the old 1925 concourse, they've heard voices and even encountered a woman named Rose at baggage claim. Now, in 1929, this is a 1929 Art Deco landmark. They closed it in 1979. It was a grand hub until post-World War II train traffic stopped. The deaths associated with this terminal are more about the passerbys from glory days and those who have traveled that have passed. There's no account of any mass fatalities or tragic event at this location. People see spectral passengers. They see them walking, running as if they're to not miss their train. Investigators have reported moving objects, disembodied voices, shadow figures, animal ghosts, smell of tobacco, cigars, and smoke, poop, and vomit. There is also a young boy named Zachary in the trolley lobby. Hi, Terry. And you can still hear the sounds of the train brakes when the trains pull in. Now, apparently, you can do ghost hunts at at this terminal, and it takes you upstairs into like the offices. The whole thing's closed down, so all the offices and everything is empty. So apparently, the whole place is the ghost gallivant inside, is from what I'm understanding. But that's all I have found on that one. Um, the number 5 is the Rolling Hills Asylum. Now, this is in East Bethany, New York. If you've ever longed to explore a decaying asylum with just a flashlight and an EVP recorder, consider your prayers answered. These rooms are arrayed with hospital beds, ratty dolls, and old medical equipment, all amplifying the eerie atmosphere. Make sure to visit the second floor on the east wing to see if the Shadow People hallway lives up to its ominous name. The former poorhouse, which is this nickname, it was a shooting location for American Horror Story Asylum. So this one was used to tape that for the American Horror Story. Now, this was established as the Genesee County Poor Farm in 1827. It served as a poorhouse, orphanage, a nursing home housing the elderly and mentally ill. It closed its doors in 1974. Over 17 accounted for deaths happened at this location. Today, it is a museum. The people who died here are buried all around the property with unmarked pins. It's just blank metal rods sticking up out of the ground to show that there is a body buried there. Shadows there are seen daily. Voices are heard. Patients that wander are seen in wheelchairs, walking with IV towers, and in hospital gown. This is a place in East Bethany, New York. Yes, it's called the Rolling Hills Asylum, or it's also known as the Old Poorhouse in Genesee County Poor Farm. They walk like zombies wearing hospital gowns. That's where I left off. People feel feelings of sadness. They feel scared and they'll start crying for no reason. They get headaches or they'll vomit. People claim to get sick in what used to be solitary confinement. They feel trapped, scared, like they're being held down. They report hearing nurses talking, patients crying or yelling. They hear beating on the walls. They see wheelchairs and beds rolling on their own. They smell pee and poop in certain rooms. And here there are ghost tours available. I'm not sure how often or their schedule or anything like that. You'd have to look, but yes, this all of tonight is locations in the state of New York. So I would absolutely go to this asylum. I would go to every floor, every room. I would be taking pictures and everything. Like here is a picture of one of the rooms. Get back over this way and make sure y'all can see that. So, oops. I would absolutely go there. Y'all know y'all would. Y'all know y'all'd go there. You'd go there, Missy. You can ooh all you want to. I know you'd go there with me in a heartbeat. I want to go to an asylum. I have not been to one, and I want to go so bad. The next one, number 6, is called the Burn Bray Mansion, and this is in Glen Spey or Spey, Spey. I don't know if it's Spey or Spy. Glen Spey or Glen Spey, Burn Bray, Brae Mansion. Once part of a large estate for the president of the Singer Sewing Company. This Victorian bed and breakfast has frightened more than a few greenhorns. Private ghost hunters and guests alike have sworn to see a woman pacing the halls and to hear unexplained noises, footsteps, and music from an unseen piano. Can't bear the thought of an overnight stay. The mansion's fall murder mystery dinner serves suspense without as many spooks. Or if you want to go all in, there's a paranormal investigation package that offers access to professional ghost hunting equipment and a professionally filmed and edited video of the experience. I would just rather video myself. Like, I don't need to get no package. Okay, so the Burn Bray Mansion was built in 1908 as a home. It also served as a boarding school, a tea room, and today it's a bed and breakfast. It went through some renovations on its 100-year anniversary. The original servers' quarters, now named the Singer Suite, the Elkin Room, and an adjoining suite named the Mackenzie Suite. This has aired on TV shows before. Sci-Fi's Stranded, Haunted or Not, The Paranormal After Party Episode 4, Part 1, and Paranormal After Party Episode 5 is Part 2. There's cold spots in the home and all over the property. You will hear screams and moan daily, seeing ghostly figures all around the property. Lady at the top of the staircase will stand at the top and wait for people to climb the stairs, and then poof, will disappear into midair. People have claimed their blankets have been ripped off of them and thrown onto the floor. The lights in their lamps blink on and off. The water will turn on its own. People have woke up to spirits standing over them while they're sleeping and then disappear. Things go missing or have been moved. That's reported a lot. Spirits are friendly, but they're very curious. Voices and whispers are heard all the time. Knocking on the doors and nobody being there, very popular thing. Footsteps in the hallways that sound like they're wearing very heavy boots are heard at night. I would absolutely go there too and stay. I would stay at this bed and breakfast. Heck yeah, wouldn't y'all? Mm-hmm. Yes. The Sagamore in Bolton Landing, New York. The Sagamore. Now, this place looks so pretty. Here, I'll show you a picture of the Sagamore. This is a huge house that sits on Lake George. It sits on Lake George in New York. Now, this is a grand hotel on a private island overlooking Lake George. Sounds like the perfect place for some rest and relaxation, or eternal rest for some. The gorgeous 19th century Victorian resort has many recurring ghosts like Walter, wearing a three-piece suit and frequently seen in an elevator, and Lillian, who watches the boats on the lake. But the Sagamore's most notorious ghost is likely to be found playing outdoors. About 70 years ago, a small boy who sold lost golf balls back to Pro Shop customers was hit by a car during his search. If you listen very closely, you can still hear him giggling. Now, this opened in 1883 as a grand hotel for the wealthy. It sits on Lake George. It closed in 1981 after a large fire, and it was restored in the 1980s. It was known for its lavish and lively parties and tobogganing on the frozen lake. Theodore Roosevelt stayed here often and called it his summer White House. Theodore's youngest son, Quentin Roosevelt, was killed in aerial combat in World War I, and his memorial is on the grounds. Theodore himself died at this location in 1919. A man named Marty Taplin died there after falling from a balcony. The investigation was found as suspicious, but they believe he was pushed. I'm actually scared of asylums. When my family was being haunted about 8 years ago, I was so mentally scared. Really? So maybe you shouldn't talk about it then. Like that doesn't sound like something you would want to talk about. Like you know me, I've got questions, but I don't want to bring that back up into your mind for it to re-scare you all over again, because I know that that's possible, and I don't want to do that. So if you want to talk about it, let me know, because I got questions. And then there's Walter. A man wearing a three-piece suit is seen in the lobby. He is an old employee who acts like he is still working. He acts as he is a butler slash greeter. He often speaks, smiles, waves, and shows people to their seats. He mostly interacts with furniture. The little boy who died on the golf course still wanders around outside. He will play pranks on golfers. He will appear out of nowhere, and then he'll hide people's balls from them. And then all of a sudden, the ball will start rolling out of the tree line towards them, and then he is seen running away giggling. You can hear him giggle, they said. A maid was murdered by a guest. Couldn't find out why. And she was murdered on the second floor. She is seen on the second floor mostly, excuse me, still trying to clean the rooms. She will hear and appear right. She wears dated attire, and she will smile at the guest if she knows that she's been seen. They hear her footsteps. There is a woman named Lillian who enters rooms through walls. She has dark hair and wears a white dress. She is heard humming or singing, and she wanders from room to room as if she is searching for someone. There are other ghosts as well, but these are the most common and identified. So I guess, just over the years, these are the ones that's been identified. I'm sure that they've had ghost hunters come in, or mediums possibly, to find out their names, and or just looking at maybe prior history, and finding out like their names. It doesn't say that they know the little boy's name. There's something poking me. Iron Island Museum, and this is in Buffalo, New York. Iron Island Museum. Now, it's no wonder that this spot, once a church and a funeral home, is now an institution dedicated to all things supernatural. According to staffers, paranormal investigators, including the ghost hunters team, Good night, Terry. Love you. Have captured voices, shadows, orbs of light, and other evidence of lingering spirits. Keep your eyes peeled for the specter of military vet Edgar Zernicki, whose ashes went unclaimed in the basement for decades. The museum offers day tours and overnight hunts. Now, it was built in 1883 as a church, but later became a funeral home in 1956. The spirit in the basement identified himself on a voice box to paranormal investigators as Edgar Zernicki. He led investigators to the basement where they found his unclaimed and abandoned cremated remains. Apparently, his name was written on it. He was a Marine veteran and was never claimed as his family wasn't told of his location. He is frequently seen and heard. He's friendly but seems lost and sad. Now, there are spirit of two young boys who had wakes at this funeral home in the 60s. They also linger because nobody took their remains either. Their names are unknown, but apparently there were two urns there with remains that weren't named. But apparently they have identified themselves as young boys to investigators. There is something that's like itching my back. It's driving me nuts. They are often seen. They're very curious and will follow you, but they go about their own business. People report hearing whispers, cries, moaning, footsteps, laughing, seeing shadows and orbs, and feeling watched. Some claim they were touched, and some say that they get feelings of feeling very sad. I'd go there too. Now, see, this one, that's all this one says. This one says nothing about like a hearse being a bed or anything like that you mentioned before. So we're going to look into that one. I'm going to find out where that thing is. And then there's the New York State Capitol. Now, this is in Albany. Now, that's all I have written down. So I don't have any more written down. But I'm going to read off of here what it is now. I'm getting clogged up now. All right, New York State Capitol in Albany says, don't let the architectural splendor of this 119-year-old building fool you. Ghoulish reports describe flickering lights and shadowy figures, clocks mysteriously rewinding, and a dutiful night watchman who still makes his rounds well after expiring in the structure's 1911 fire. The building is open 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. during the week. So if you can spot the hidden devil carved into the wall by a disgruntled stonecutter, and special Capitol hauntings tours take place in the fall. I don't know why they wouldn't do. If you do tours, why do you just do them in a certain time? Like, why wouldn't you do that year round? Are people afraid of the cold or something? Why is it just the fall? Is that when because that's when Halloween is? Why would you just make it during the fall? I would make that shit year round. You know what I mean? If I got some ghosts in there, y'all come on and see. Y'all investigate it. And there's only one other one that's in here that I didn't write down. And y'all know how I am about cemeteries. This is the Sleepy Hollow Cemetery in Sleepy Hollow, New York. And y'all know every cemetery is haunted. They all have their spirits. They hover there. So I don't write those down. But I'm going to read this, what it says. Now, you want to hear the scandalous stories that cemetery residents wish they could have taken to their graves? Of course you do. At night, take a lamp lit tour through town tales of murder, suicide, corruption, extortion, and insanity. The stories are so terrifying they will leave you shaking among the tombstones. A handful of famous bodies lie beneath the soil, including the legend of Sleepy Hollow himself. Excuse me, the legend of Sleepy Hollow writer himself, Washington Irving. If darkness is not your old friend, take a daytime cemetery tour instead. That's all it says. That's why I don't write down cemeteries, because Mortuary Manor in Toledo. Is that in New York? Toledo, New York. Is that in New York? Every cemetery is haunted. That's what I don't that's why I don't do cemeteries. Like if there's I don't know. But anyway. That's all I've got. Oh, I'm so stuffy now. Okay. Alrighty. Let's see. My eyes are going to start watering now, and I'm stuffy. Why is it upside down? Come on. Turn over. Come on. I don't want that upside down. Damn it. Let's see here. Let's see. Apparently Manhattan is haunted. You can take a tour. You can take a ghost hunting tour through Manhattan. Let's see. There's also such a sad, compelling story. Where's the fucking story? It's called The House of Death, and this is right in Manhattan. So I'm trying to find the story. It's a 4-story building here. It's a historic landmark, but it's not. This is just reviews. Like I'm just trying to find The House of Death. Let's see. Come on. I'm just going to type that in. Oops. All right. Now, the House of Death primarily refers to a famously haunted brownstone at 14 West 10th Street, New York City's Greenwich Village, known for tragic events and alleged hauntings, but it can also mean a prison's isolation area, a fantasy setting, or a theme in books or media, generally signifying a place of intense spiritual or mortal consequence. It is a pre-Civil War brownstone built in the 1850s. It's home to 10 apartments and has seen about 22 deaths within this building. Notable resident author Mark Twain lived here from 1900 to 1901. Uh, it's famous for ghost sightings and eerie occurrences with claims of spirits of Mark Twain himself being there. A death house and a prison is where inmates are held before execution, including the execution chamber itself. I'm just wanting to find out about the Mark Twain thing. It doesn't give me any information about. Okay. Nope. Let's see. Let's see what this one says. Okay. When a property is deemed the house of death, you know there's bound to be at least one gut-wrenching story attached to it. The building itself is as pretty as any of the other revivalist Greek brownstones in one of New York's most pretty neighborhoods. Built in 1856 on West 10th Street in Greenwich Village, what is now known as the House of Death has at one time or another housed many of the city's bright and beautiful, including the wife of the founder of the Metropolitan Underground Railroad and the Broadway Underground Railroad, Mr. James Borman Johnston. Johnston was responsible for founding a reading room, library, and famed 10th Street Studio, a collective with studios, galleries, and annual fundings for resident artists, unique in New York City at one time. After he died, his wealthy widow moved his daughters into the House of Death. The house seemed to have started earning its reputation gradually after the Borman family stopped living there. The first recorded incident happened in 1897. Cycling celebrity Fred H. Andrew, the new owner and occupier of 14 West 10th Street, had a moment of bad luck. During his residency, as described in the New York Times, on August 9, 1897, Andrew had a moment of reckless bicycle riding that caused him to hit a boy around 8 years old. The boy suffered a broken leg and Andrew was subsequently arrested. But the house's most famous tenant was Mark Twain, a mustached legend of American literature at the tail end of his writing career, but at the height of his celebrity. Twain, whose real name is Samuel Clemens, oh, that's funny. He was battling bankruptcy and churning out some of his rushed but classic works. He was also fighting depression, not helped by the sad mustache he wore constantly. Twain was a noted ghost skeptic, yet wrote of a clear and plain paranormal experience he had in his new home. One evening, he witnessed a large piece of wood oh, kindling move in the air all by itself. Thinking the wood was being moved by a rat that had some use for the wood, a new piece of furniture perhaps, he shot it with his gun as anyone would do. It suddenly fell to the ground, surrounded by a few drops of blood. Rats outnumbered people in New York even then, but the house was not noted for having an infestation. Twain maintained the blood was that of a rodent and not of a ghost. Although Twain did not have many pleasant memories of this house, he can still be seen roaming the stairwell of the House of Death. Subsequent occupants have seen his visage trudging up and down the stairs, commonly considered the most haunted section of the house. He may also be responsible for disembodied marching sounds that have been heard everywhere in the vacated parts of the house. One notable Twain encounter was reported in the late 30s. By 1937, the house on 10th Street had been converted into a co-op building, making up 10 spacious condo apartments. One of these, shortly after the building's transformation, a newly resident mother and her daughter bumped into Twain's ghost perched on the window seat. He nonchalantly approached the pair, saying, "My name is Clemens, and I has a problem here I gotta settle." He disappeared moments later into thin air. What problem he had that he needed so badly needed to settle, he did not share, likely a financial one. It's sad money can keep one from resting happily in peace. It's also a mystery why Mark Twain, who died in Danbury, Connecticut, not at the New York house, often appears here today, also remains a mystery. Jan Bryant Bartell and her daughter took up residency of the spacious apartment on the top floor. In 1957, the famous actress, psychic, and writer moved into the apartment which once housed the servants. Bartell reported almost immediately that a monstrous moving shadow would often follow her around the house. One time she writes that she had seen a ghostly figure of a man standing in the hall. Bravely, she reached out and tried to touch whatever she was seeing, and she felt something, but nothing like she'd ever felt before. She described it as a substance with a substance. A substance without substance. Chilly, damp, diaphanous as marsh mist or a cloud of ether. I could feel my fingers freeze at the tips. They were numb and yet they tingled. In the split second between contact and recoil, the scent came, fragile and languorous, and sweet, unbearably cloying sweet. This unusual scent was not the only odd and bitter scent the Bartell family reported smelling during their time here. Food not purchased by them and already rotting as if it had been sitting around for days would suddenly appear on the table. Their many small animals would often become aggressive for no reason, as if disturbed by invisible enemies in the building. Bartell was a true believer and took a proactive step of employing a paranormal expert to investigate what could be causing these terrifying realities for the scared residents. The investigator confirmed what the couple had believed from the start. The investigator proclaimed that there were upwards of 22 spirits here in the House of Death. Besides Mark Twain, he mentioned additionally a woman in a white dress, a young girl, and a gray cat. Bartell decided to write about her experiences in the house in a manuscript documenting her psychic experience with the paranormal while living at 10th Street, titled Spindrift, Spray from a Psychic Sea. She vividly recounts what it was like to live in a possessed house. The book was well received and had received many favorable reviews. The affecting prose is flowery. It paints a picture of a woman on the edges of the world and the border of another. Bartell writes of experiencing visions and of hearing many unexplained sounds. Like a game of 10 little Indian, deaths began to occur in the house. The first to die was a dog, Jan's own beloved Penelope, but within 24 hours, she was learned of the death of the first human tenant. Whether by heart attack, suicide, or murder, the death came in rapid succession. In terror, with 9 little Indians gone, the Bartells moved far away from Greenwich Village, but the haunting followed them. After the completion of Spindrift, Jan Bartell became the 10th. She died shortly after completing this manuscript in what might consider mysterious circumstances. She was a sufferer of depressive episodes, and there were rumors of suicide attempts. Her death lent credence to the legend of the House of Death and its curse. There were still, however, many skeptics. Deaths go unsolved in New York constantly. I don't know if I'd want to stay here. That's a little too much going on at one time. I might want to go in and like walk around, but I don't think I'd want to like live there or stay there. Oh. One event, however, put the status of the house in the position of few doubters. On November 2nd, 1987, New York City witnessed a genuine tragedy at the House of Death. The murder of Lisa Nussbaum has twisted plot worthy of a Hollywood's horror flick. Around 6:40 a.m., 9/11 operators got a pressing phone call from children author and editor Hedda Nussbaum. She said that her 6-year-old daughter Lisa wasn't breathing, so an ambulance was sent to her Greenwich residence right away. When the paramedics arrived, they were greeted by a very disturbing scene. They found Lisa lying naked and unresponsive on the kitchen floor, and her brother Mitchell tied to a playpen and soaked in his own urine. Nussbaum herself was covered with bruises and had several broken bones. Investigators also discovered marijuana, cocaine, hashish, over 20 crack pipes, and $25,000 in cash in the apartment. Paramedics were regrettably unable to revive Lisa Nussbaum on their way to the hospital. Later, her autopsy revealed the cause of her death was repeated blunt force trauma to the skull. Hedda Nussbaum and lawyer Joel Steinberg, Lisa's father, were both arrested and subsequently charged with her first-degree murder. It was charged that after cocaine binge, Joel Steinberg violently abused both Lisa and his wife. Hedda avoided a charge in exchange for testimony against Joel. A jury found him guilty of manslaughter in second degree and sentenced to a term in jail. Upon his release in 2004, Joel Steinberg left the law behind and took construction jobs. Like the mansion in Amityville horror films, the House of Death also became the residence of a real-life monster. Hello, LB4. Oh! Is that my friend Will? No. Is it? Is that the one from Will? Is that you? LB for Life 795. I can't remember. Anyway, hello LB4. All right. Residents started to notice flickering lights. Several residents reported a ghostly female figure in a long gown wandering the corridor. A resident photographer had apparently been seeing her float through doors for more than 20 years. The house itself is still elegant, well proportioned, and gives no clues to its accumulated horror within. The classic brownstone near the beautiful Washington Square in the Village echoes with sad, frightening stories revolving around many people who have left a part of their souls in the fabric of this building. If we are to take any lessons from these stories, it reinforces the old adage that you shouldn't judge a book by its cover. Currently in private ownership, the building is resided in today and continues to add stories of hauntings to the legends of paranormal activity. The stairwell continues to be the nexus of the ghostly activity in the building. The dark and wide antique stairs are where many of the ghosts still make their appearances. Mark Twain was October, Mark Twain, Tragedy and Ghost. I guess these are books and stories that have been written. So the Mark Twain Tragedy and Ghosts, Mark Twain. Um, why does that say that twice? Oh, there was something 4 and 1/6. Donnelly, Tim, Tim Donnelly, Tim Donnelly, Andrea Janes, the weirdest fucking book ever. It says Elizabeth Marin, a 6-year-old's tragic death, and a book about New York's House of Death. So this is all books that's been written about it. I wouldn't want to stay there. I'm gonna have to pass on the House of Death one. Like I said, I'd go there. I'd like go walk in there. I'd go up the stairwell, take pictures, but I wouldn't stay there or live there. I don't. They say that people still live there too, and I wouldn't want to. And to look at the picture, I mean, it's your typical, you know, on your New York street. It's a typical, you know, line down the road. It's just that one building that's 4 stories high with the stairs that go up the front. That's what it looked like. This is your typical home in New York City. I have to speak English, or you just okay? Thank you. Anyway, so that's haunted New York. North Carolina is next, and then North Dakota. North Carolina and North Dakota. We've done Ohio already because that's when trauma came on. So we'll skip that and go right on over to Oklahoma. So North Carolina is next. So I'm going to find out where some. Then I don't even want to know what that. See, that's what I did notice, that people will take like links to their, you know, dirty pages, and they go and put in people's lives or videos, and they comment and, you know, stuff like that. So maybe that's what that was. Oh, you sent me to. Okay, I'm going to look at that. So anyway, that was Haunted New York. I thank you guys for coming in. I know I've been slacking, but like I said, I'm going to try to get back to normal now that the holidays are over. I may go live tomorrow night at my tattoo shop. I'm not sure yet. But we're going to be working on this right here. So we're just going to kind of finish what was started that never got finished, and it's going to look like an actual flag. So I'm really looking forward to it. I get compliments on this all the time, and nobody can tell what it is. Nobody realizes this is a flag, but they're like, oh, nice artwork. Do you know what it is? No, what is it? Well, then how do you know it's nice artwork? That kills me. But yes, I was going to do the podcast tomorrow night, but I had my appointment for tomorrow night, and I didn't want to miss that. So I made it for tonight. And but yeah, I might go live tomorrow night while I'm over there. And I work on Sunday, so next Wednesday I will most likely be doing some North Carolina. And next Wednesday also I'm getting my Missy, you're awesome. I'm getting a haircut next Wednesday, and anyway, you guys will see. I love you guys. Thank you so much for joining me here at Fireballs and F-Bombs, and I love you. Night, night.